In the run-up to May 22nd, when we get Mandalorian and Grogu on the big screen, I'm reviewing all of the live-action content for the Star Wars franchise. The Empire Strikes Back. Let's go! If you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe, ring that notification bell to stay up to date with all of the content here. And if you could, please leave a comment. I'd highly appreciate it. Just let me know what you thought of the film, what you think of the review, whatever you want to talk about down in the comment section. It helps this video greatly. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, or also known on release as just The Empire Strikes Back. Released in 1980. George Lucas had the story, but the screenplay was done by Lee Brackett and also Lawrence Kasdan. Set 3 years after the events of Star Wars, the film recounts the battle between the malevolent Galactic Empire, led by the Emperor, and the Rebel Alliance, led by Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. As the Empire goes on the offensive, Luke trains to master the Force so he can confront the Emperor's powerful disciple, Darth Vader. The film stars Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Billy Dee Williams, Anthony Daniels, David Prowse, Kenny Baker, Peter Mayhew, and Frank Oz. While Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, is my favourite Star Wars, this is the best Star Wars film. This is like the ultimate Star Wars movie. It's on every top movie list you could probably ever find. And there's a reason for it. From the get-go, this movie in scope is massive. We have a snowscape opening on the planet Hoth, where the rebels are in hiding and planning their next attack. But the Empire sends down an Imperial probe droid, locates the rebels, and they send a massive force to attack. We get an instant continuation of our characters. Han and Leia, their dialogue from the very beginning is just so well written and so well performed. This movie has the best cinematography of the entire saga, has the best dialogue, down to the lighting is just on point. The special effects are great. The use of stop motion is great when we see our Tauntaun in the snow and it's running across the screen. It's clearly stop motion effects and it's just brilliant. Still looks better than CGI in my opinion. Immediately it feels like we got a creature feature moment with a creature called a Wampa, which is basically like a Yeti creature that attacks Luke. And without going into any exposition or filling in any blanks, we immediately realize that Luke has progressed with his ways of the Force because he's able to grab the lightsaber with the Force as he's hanging upside down. We get C-3PO and R2-D2, who I think actually are really great in this movie. 3PO gets a lot more dialogue than he did in the original movie, I think. But I love how he just gets bullied throughout this entire movie. Also, R2-D2 again proves that he's like this Swiss Army knife character. He is the ultimate plot device on wheels. There's some funny dialogue in this. 3PO calls her Mistress Leia, which was kind of weird. Also, we get a proper kiss between brother and sister in this. That's also a bit weird in retrospect. Now we get the Imperial March here by John Williams, one of the most iconic scores of all time. We do get it in later entries that are set before this. So we get it at the end of Attack of the Clones. I think we get it in Revenge of the Sith at some point, but we also get it in Rogue One. But this is where it came from. This was the first time it was actually used. But the AT-ATs at the beginning of the movie, when they are approaching the base, absolutely iconic. What a great battle that is. The Battle of Hoth is just one of the best battle sequences ever. Again, stop motion used here as well. But everything in this film feels like a race against time, and it helps the pacing. The rebels being on the underfoot again in this, and it doesn't actually leave it in a good place for our characters. Everyone is got some kind of trauma or something's happened to them at the end of this movie that leaves them downtrodden. The Empire have the upper hand at the end of this movie. It's almost like the good guys lose.
No. We'll never get it out now.
So certain are you? Always with you what cannot be done. Do you nothing that I say?
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
Yoda's puppet has never looked so good. I feel like they've never quite been able to recreate what they did with Yoda in this movie, and it feels like lightning in a bottle in that respect. They're just never going to get the lighting right, the movement right. Everything was just it was almost like it could have gone horribly wrong, but it didn't, and they're never going to be able to recreate that. I think the one sequence in Empire Strikes Back that slows the movie down is the cave scene, where it's a place full of the dark side, and it doesn't really explain why or what's going on here. Darth Vader appears in this vision, and Luke strikes him, and his head rolls off and reveals himself there. And obviously, it's like a reflection of the character. This is what could happen, and like there's this whole meaning behind it. But it kind of slows the movie down, and it's a weird moment. The film's funny as well, though. They're just like quick moments that do make you laugh or smile. Just small things like when the Falcon gets hit and the toolbox falls into the hole where Han is and just knocks him on the head. You know, senile Yoda hitting R2-D2 with a stick. And we have a romance, probably the only romance arc in Star Wars that actually works. You know, the score helps that. The score has like a romantic side to it. But Han and Leia's romance works because it just feels like naturally progressed. It's not forced. It doesn't go further than it has to. You know, Anakin and Padme's romance didn't work really on screen. And Rey and Ben was weird too. So I think this is the only time they've been able to really capture romance properly. I remember as a kid, I got upset when C-3PO got blown up. And he spends a lot of this time sort of in pieces on Chewie's back in Cloud City. Speaking of, Cloud City's awesome. Great location. Again, a great use of effects. The carbonate scene is iconic, and the music along with it. Billy D. Williams as Lando is fantastic in this movie, full of charisma, enough to match Harrison Ford for the first time, I think. Like, no one has quite matched his charisma until this point.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Again, the lighting in the chamber where Han gets frozen, but also later when Luke faces down Vader. Like the oranges and the blues and the real deep blacks, especially if you watch this in 4K, like those blacks are proper black, and it just works. It looks fantastic. I actually think this is the one movie that does benefit from the special edition. Not as much was altered, but the effects in the backgrounds, in the windows of the Cloud City and things like that, they actually look so much better than they did in the original. And again, like the Hoth battle, a lot of that was restored, and a lot of the strings that you can see in the original around the ships and things like that are no longer there. So I do think that Empire Strikes Back benefits more so than the other films for special edition. And obviously we get the revelation here. Obviously, spoiler alert, but this is such an old film, and everybody knows this line. But obviously, it reveals that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. And what a twist. Like, I wish... It's one of those movies, like, I wish I could go back in time and sit in the cinema and learn that again for the first time with the whole crowd there. Because even when I saw it as a special edition, it wasn't like a big revelation because everyone knew that at that point. So I never got to experience it really. It was just such a pop culture thing. Like even before I think I watched that, there was never this big, oh my God, didn't see that coming moment. And as the film ends, Luke Skywalker is like taken some damage. He's had his hand cut off. He's scarred. He's beaten up. He's tired. He's battling with the fact that his father is Darth Vader and Ben didn't tell him. Coupled with the fact that his friend Han is putting carbonate, and Leia is still battling with that as well. It's just such a bleak ending for these heroes compared to the last one. But this movie is absolute cinema. Like, it is the best Star Wars film. And like I said, Rogue One is my favorite because it does a few things that I've always wanted to see. It brings back characters. Big battle sequences. You've got the modern technology on top of that. There's just a lot of things about Rogue One that I just absolutely adore. But this is the best Star Wars movie. Guys, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down in the comment section below. Perhaps you think this isn't the greatest Star Wars movie and you have reasons for that. Let me know down in the comments what's your favorite and what do you think is the best Star Wars movie. I'd love to know, and we're going to come back here with Return of the Jedi next. Look forward to bringing you that review. Until then, I'll see you with the next one, guys. Take care of yourselves.